Hey, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Always appreciate everyone coming into these webinars. It's been really nice being able to kind of walk through some specific use cases with Podio with everyone. Today, we're going to be focusing on accounting. So Podio, what counts with accounting? Really focusing around that industry. Today, we'll be highlighting more of an accounting firm stance, but it's also really nice to know that this could be sort of a department within a larger company as well. As always, my name is Mac Flintosh. I'm the Podio subject matter expert here on the solutions engineering team. And today we are joined by Gil Roberts, who's the director of BrickBridge Consulting. Nice things that we're going to highlight is not only just what you can do with Podio, but what you can do with Podio once you're doing things like leveraging a partner. So touching a bit more on things like those third-party integrations. As you know, Podio is that API first, so there's a lot of really cool things that can be pulled on top to sort of make a single source of record there. So Gil, do you want to talk a little bit more about BrickBridge and what that can kind of bring into a client's environment?
Thank you so much. I got to get this shameless plug in here first, right? So thank you all for joining me today, and I hope this is very educational. We'll be touching on a lot of the accounting topics that we've heard from our clients. We have some clients in bookkeeping and accounting, as well as the financial services industry as well. We'll be focusing a little bit more on the accounting side, but I believe those in the financial services industry will see that how this can be levered very quickly. BrickBridge Consulting, we've been around for about 7 years, born in Podio. That's how we got started. We actually do mostly public sector work in the beginning. We've moved into for-profit over the years. But we are a technology and innovation firm, so we do a lot of things that are new, and we like to break things and experiment and really push the boundaries of SaaS software. Podio has been excellent over the years for being malleable into a lot of different use cases, everything from accounting to inventory to payroll, all kinds of stuff that we've done inside of that. We are a cloud services group and Citrix partner. We also work with AWS and our Microsoft partner. We do focus 100% cloud. So we do DaaS, we do serverless, Office 365, the Power Platform, share file, write signature, Podio, how could you not forget? All those SaaS softwares. We believe that's the future of software, not booting up a gigantic IDE and sitting there for 6 months to a year coding and figuring out you don't like what you got at the end. So SaaS is much better. We can deliver it quickly. You can see results usually within 2 to 4 weeks. And then we just continue to improve it from there. It tends to slash IT spend by about 70% when you come see us. service@brickbridgeconsulting.com if you'd like to talk. Okay, plug over with. Let's do some cool stuff. All right, so what I have here for you all today is a very scaled down version of an accounting system that's end-to-end. So it includes both the CRM, the onboarding, client profiles, projects, and of course, doing things like bookkeeping, returns, audits, performance reviews with the company. This can be scaled up or even scaled down further for large companies or mom and pop shops with only 2 or 3 people. Podio is very affordable in that. So the share file and write signature, which we'll be showing off. I'm also going to show off a couple of other pieces of software. We're a partner, so we get to cheat. So we're going to look at some MailChimp. We're going to look at QuickBooks. We're definitely going to be utilizing some Zapier. So we're going to be using some third-party items. I do want to warn before we get started, they are third-party items. You must purchase them separately and get them wired together. Mac will not be buying them for you, right, Mac?
Very, very true. And I will say as well, that's one of the nice things about being able to leverage our Podio partner network is you don't necessarily need to have a developer on staff to make any of these connections. We have partners in place that we can kind of introduce you to, get you matched up with, where if there's other tools that you need to be working within this platform, they'd be able to create those connections for you so long as they're both open source.
Absolutely. And obviously, we'd love to have your business, but there's a great, wonderful Podio partner network. I got to give a shout out to anybody that you find out there. If they're a Podio partner, they're going to be able to get the job done. All right, so what are we looking at here? So I think some people are familiar with Podio. No, yes, maybe. I'll take it.
I would say I can touch on this briefly. Just most people should be, but for anyone who's not, what we're looking at right now is a workspace within Podio. So all of your workspaces are located in that drop down on the left-hand side. This is really great for sort of organizing your information into sort of buckets. So a lot of times we'll see different workspaces for different departments. You can do everything in one workspace. There's no right or wrong way to set that up. A lot of that does come down to just personal preference. The big thing to just keep in mind is that if someone's a member of a workspace, they do have access to everything saved within that workspace. So if you have anything that's more sensitive, you just want to have that saved in a workspace so you've given less people access to. And then across the top there where you see that activity, these are going to be your apps. So this is really mainly your templates. So keeping track of a timesheet is very different than keeping track of onboarding. So you want different apps for those things so that you're organizing the data in the way that makes the most sense. And these all live within that workspace environment. So I always like to think of it like when you're taking notes in school, you have sort of that outline style, or you might have a one with an ABC underneath it. You can look at the workspace as that one, and then these apps as those ABCs sort of broken down within that environment.
Fantastic. I can't say it any better, Mac. I'll dive into the detail here. There's these tiles on this side. A lot of people that we do these builds for really get interested in putting reports. I put a smattering of things here. You can have a lot of these different tiles. Reports can be, as simple as just, how many qualified leads are in here? Could be, what's my meetings? These can be easily expanded out for additional information. You can also put links. We're going to use this one here in a moment.
Yeah, we see this used quite a bit for reporting as well. So just getting an idea, if you have a bunch of different prospects, what sort of buckets they might be sitting in to help you organize your day.
Right here, you can do things with your checklist. I got a 2-month backlog of those parking receipts. I got that done, so I can go ahead and check that off right there. The team gets to see this. So everybody that's in the space, this is a nice little team gathering space, or what we call a big board when we do our designs, so that the team can be aligned on what the goals are. We design this part, they cannot edit it, but content flows through this. You can also leave like funny messages for the team or put great photos. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with these tiles. And we can put graphic reports, charts, all that other kind of stuff can be put into those. Okay.
And kind of echoing that real quick, Gil. So a lot of times I'll get asked, yes, this team dashboard is wonderful, but what if I just want to log in and see just my own reports or my own statuses? If you hit that Podio button in that top blue bar, every user also has their own dashboard. So it's kind of the best of both worlds where the work is happening in that collaborative environment, but you are enabling each individual to organize in the way that's going to make them the most efficient.
Yep. So there's mine. I got a couple goofy pictures on there, some motivationals. You can also see what's going on. I can see some of the other developers are working on some of our other projects here. Just a couple minutes ago, Elizabeth was working on something. Okay, we'll focus back. All right, so we were talking about accounting, and on the front end is the CRM, right? You got to make sales. You got to have a client to be able to service them. Most clients you might meet in person. I'm going to do a little scenario where they come through either a social media form or a web form like this one, which you can put on your website, which comes with Podio. And we can embed this right into a website and somebody just fills it out. We can put whatever at the top. Their name's test, client 15. Just gonna make some stuff up. Org 15. Put a telephone number in there, 555-5555. And we could do things like validation and all this kind of stuff, but it's just a demo. So, and I'll put test 15. Test 15 at work.com. And we're going to go ahead and ask them to opt into that newsletter, right? We want to make sure we stay in front of them. They may not be a customer today or tomorrow, but they might be a customer next year. So we just need to make sure that we stay in front of them. You can also bring, if they're a business, personal, or both customer, we can expand that out for corporate and those kinds of things. But just for the sake of this demo, we'll focus on those two. All right, a little spam protection there so that your website doesn't get overrun. Move this Zoom bar out of the way.
In full disclosure, for anyone who gets mild anxiety, our eCAPTCHA is that here's 9 pictures, select which one has a tree in it. But just so you're aware, that is our normal detection for bots.
Yeah. All right, there's a next button. Now, technically there's submitting. Usually you see submit buttons at the form, but we've gotten clever and we're gonna roll that submittal right into their first appointment, right? This person's coming off the internet, they're interested in your accounting services, captured a little bit of information. Why not go ahead and set them up with their first consultation, that first 30-minute consultation? We're using Calendly to get that done. So they can go ahead and pick. So this is the experience of a potential customer. If I'm a Calendly user, I got my stuff that's going on down through here. So let's say 1 o'clock works, so we'll roll with that. I am test 15. I'm gonna go ahead and put my email in here because I'm actually gonna show you my email box as some of this stuff is going on.
And Gil, I know Calendly is a really strong integration, but this can work with other scheduling tools as well, correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So this is going to issue I think this one's going to issue a Teams link, but we have it with Zoom, all kinds of stuff. So it's also going to go ahead and send out some of this stuff. An invite here in just a moment. Calendly takes just this out. There it is. Look at that, right into their mailbox. Right. So this one's the one that comes from the outside. We use a Google Calendar to operate this. That's why you're seeing a Gmail. My phone just sent me where I can one-touch RSVP. If I have an Apple Watch, I can do it right there. That's the experience of your potential client. It's smooth, just like that. And they can just put it on the calendar. Now, I got them going to my email address and my email address. So I'm on both sides of this. So you would get this RSVP. And then the potential client would get this one, so you wouldn't see both. And then there's just a general warning from Calendly that this new appointment has been scheduled. Now, it's not just put it in the email box, it's actually put it in the meetings calendar as well. Here it is, 1 minute ago. So we have a meetings app. So we're gonna start digging into the apps here. We have a meetings app here. That's gonna be your kind of central hub for all your client meetings. It's in the calendar style. We just set up this test event here 1 minute ago. It automatically got us all set up. We just need to go in here and okay, it's going to be me. Perfect. And then Mr. or Mrs. 15, add them right on. So now we have all the information. Look, there's the Microsoft Teams link. There's agenda items we can automatically set. All that's ready and raring to go. And it took 2 clicks.
And Gil, would that be something that they could even automate where like once the lead has been created and that meeting's been booked, it automatically attaches it to that item?
We can automate everything except the human being away permanently. Anything can be automated, right? A human being still has to go get the CPA, right? Like but it's getting pretty close, not to be too scary. But
yeah, I just want to clarify that for some of the new users that are on the call today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some of this stuff you'll see me just get it to 1 or 2 clicks. We call that the last mile, those few clicks. that took me less than 2 seconds to do. Yeah, we could automate that away. Is it worth the ROI? Maybe, right? If you have you're a large firm using CCH Access and you got, 200 CPAs on staff. Yeah, 2 or 3 seconds every day, several times a day times 200 people. Yeah, sure, it makes sense. Or if you're a small mom and pop, save the money. Just 2 clicks, right? Like it is what it is. Okay. And so we got a lead in our CRM here. So it's got their contact information. So they've already scheduled the meeting. We can see it down here. Here it is. There's that meeting that's scheduled. Let's say we have that meeting and we're ready. They like us, we like them. So we believe that lead is qualified. There's ink in the pen. Got to have another conversation. Maybe it's with a spouse or a partner or something like that. So we upgrade them to a prospect. Now, leads and prospects may seem very similar, but we like to bifurcate them for one very distinct reason, but there's a lot of different reasons. One distinct reason is leads, we expose that app to the internet. So you get a lot of junk in there, right? Like spam and a lot of people window shopping and those kinds of things. We want to promote the good leads out of the pile up to prospects. So you know which ones you should be focusing on out of the whole lead pile. All right, so we promoted them to a prospect. I'm going to cheat here real quick. I'm going to change this email address so you guys and gals can see what's going on the back end. And so this would be the experience of your prospects. You talk to them, maybe you talk with a spouse, everything's good to go. They're gonna sign on the line that is dotted, so they're ready to be onboarded as a client. So they don't go straight to being a client. They got a little bit of work to do before we get there. So we're gonna move into the onboarding list. And I know this is something from our accounting friends that we've done work for that can be quite the pain. So what we've done with this is we put it on rails. So we've really tightened and locked this process down for onboarding. We can make it looser or even tighter, just depending on your organization. So it's already pre-created the list. There's a bevy of things that you need to do, but what it's going to do is just, here's exactly what you need to be doing right now. We need to send that engagement letter. So I'm just going to click send letter. Now this is going to involve a write signature automation via share file. We're going to be getting into some of the third-party automation, so some of this stuff takes a second or two. So Mac, if you got some good mom, dad jokes laying around, we might need them. But it's going to go ahead and create that engagement letter. Let's take a look here. Now, normally I'm going to do some refreshes. Normally, clients aren't sitting there waiting for their engagement letter. So you would send a few of these, come back tomorrow, and everything's going to be refreshed. I'm kicking the process a little bit faster. But we've already got that engagement letter. It's already been built for us. It's a PDF. I just made a quick dummy template here. It's an engagement letter, sign it. It's going to send that out. It's also went ahead and sent a welcome email out. Actually, they're right here in my email. So there's the Calendlies. Here's a welcoming email. You can put some instructions in here for the client. Hey, thanks for choosing us. Thanks for the trust of your business. And then, of course, Write Signature has our sign document. You'll see a couple extra Write Signature. Again, I'm on both sides of this. So I'm going to get your side of the emails as well as the client side of the emails. It's right into
one nice thing to point out here as well is what we've done here, or what you've done here, Gil, is created that engagement letter PDF via Podio workflow automation. But if you are a ShareFile premium user and you do have Write Signature, you can also leverage that feature with Write Signature templates. So if you have a super involved document with crazy headers or a bunch of checkboxes, you can actually leverage that template structure with merge fields as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds again, of being able to just create your normal document or selecting from one that you've used previously.
An engagement letter, we might pull some variables in, merge in just a few, and we can do that right there inside of Podio. And then just send it out for signature. This one's ultra simple. I didn't even put a signature line on it. Everybody's e-signed a document. I don't think most people are aware of how that works. So this one, I just have it no sig, click to accept. So I just click to accept on this one. Boom, the client is done. They're engaged. It's going to send some copies here in just a moment into my email box, and then over to here, bang, it's already starting to update. Here's copies of the signatures. Again, you wouldn't be like doing it this quickly, so you don't have to go through this many refreshes. Okay, it's added the sign letter here at the bottom, and see how it's progressed. It's got the dates that it was sent, the date that it was received, date and time. All right, now we're waiting for the client for file upload here. So we need to be able to get some documents from them, right? Maybe tax returns, maybe profile information. You all know best on what's needed. And the system is telling us what's going on here. It's telling us, okay, now we're ready to set up that share file folder. I'm going to show you just, again, a quick click-through process. It can be automated away if you wish. Now, what we need to do with ShareFile is we just need to grab the folder that's already been created and neatly stored in a nice hierarchy. So you don't need to try to throw another folder on the network drive, right? You just go in your folders. Here's the accounting test folder. What was it, client 15? There they are, and you can search too. Click, done.
And this is another automation through Podio Workflow Automation, correct? Being able to create that folder?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's a huge time saver.
You can see right now the holy trinity of Write Signature, ShareFile, and Podio in action, right? Once that's in there, it's just an easy click on it. Now, you may want to have your share permissions, depending if this is a business or personal return. So you can come in here and set that. You do need to come in and set your permissions. We can automate this, but you'll have to tell us, what the default permissions were. I'm just going to quick one. That's it. You saw I just put a test name, click some boxes, copy the link, paste, let it load up, good to go, send the link. That's it. So now the client's going to get everything that's needed plus a set of instructions. You see that the automations are kicking off, shooting out all the documents. There's another email coming through, boom, file upload required. So you can put some instructions here. There's the link to go right to the folder. Customer can start throwing in the documents as needed. You'll get notifications when they start uploading stuff. So that once they're done, so this would probably be a pause point, right? Because they need to upload those documents. But once they're done, you'll come in and hit upload complete, right? Because they've completed their upload. Once that happens, it's time to pay retainer, right? So I know some people bill by the hour and we have systems for that. Others do project retainer. We just did it for sake of simplicity in this demonstration. We're just going to charge a retainer up front, draft off the hours, and then when they run out of hours, they pay another retainer.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to say in demos is the answer is almost always, in theory, yes. So it's very rare that we can't integrate or do something like that. It's more so just getting the example that matches your needs.
Well, and a lot of times, and this one's with QuickBooks, so this is going to be a QuickBooks one. I'm going to kick, this is the back end of Zapier. It can take up to 5 minutes, and I don't have enough dad jokes to get you all through 5 minutes. So I'm going to kick it a little bit in the back end. There it goes. It found it. It takes it a couple moments to come through on the email. That's good old QuickBooks. This is a webinar with accountants. Everybody knows how great QuickBooks is, right? on things. So it's going to shoot that here in just a moment. It's working. It's working it.
Yep. And that's through, I think you said that's through Zapier, right?
That's correct. So all these there it is. And I'll touch on Zapier here in a moment when I get to, I'll go into the technicals for any Podio vets or people that are more curious about looking behind the curtain. We'll talk about that at the end. Yep, file. Okay, so I got my end of onboarding. Obviously, I'm about to get my invoice. We're about done here. It's already made my first project and has transported them over into a client profile. So we've made it through the onboarding process. That's as easy as it is. Right now, we can expand this or make it smaller if that's what's needed to your organization's liking for that onboarding process. But everything is tracked. You can see exactly when everything was done, at what time. There's my invoice right here. Everybody knows what a good old QuickBooks invoice looks like. We did $135 an hour for 10 hours. Mr. Testerson, you got to pay your invoice. That's a live invoice at QuickBooks. So I'm sure this crowd knows what that looks like.
And Gil, about how much time would you think being able to automate and streamline this process would save?
Oh gosh, well, it's not only about the time, both from the client and the organization's perspective, but really when we come in and do these kind of automation jobs, it's about clients that slip through the cracks, prospects that don't get called back, onboarding procedures that get forgotten about, and then the customer goes somewhere else. Like the cost of that can greatly outweigh the time. So you get both. Not only do you get to save some time and some headache, but also things don't slip through the cracks. So you get actually more revenue, right? So you're saving money and making more money at the same time with automations. That should give you the ROI. That's
and I'd say even that, not only for like, leads or prospects that are slipping through the cracks, but I'm absolutely at fault of this. Yeah, it's like I might have something that's requested of me and I say, okay, I'll do it in 5 minutes, and I remember it a month later. So this way you can almost create that sort of accountability check to make sure you have what you need and that your clients are providing you what you need.
Absolutely. And we can put, I did an example here. This is a good call out because this screen's used when we talk onboarding and getting stuff out of clients tends to be a focus. But you can see we put automatically timestamp when that letter went out. Now I signed it immediately because we're in a webinar, but if it looks like it's gone a week, we can set an automation to send a text message to the client saying, hey, you haven't signed your engagement letter. It's been a week. What's up? You got any questions? Maybe after 10 days, we send a message to the rep, whoever that might be, maybe a partner or the CPA or the bookkeeping service, whoever's making the sale, quote unquote. Hey, it's been 10 days, company policy is you need to contact them back. If they haven't signed it in 10 days, we can bother them, right? Text message, email, ringless voicemails. There's all kinds of postcards. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do to reach contact with folks. So we can set timers and watch what we call velocity of the process, and then be able to sick what we lovingly call the robot overlords into the process to try to kick it along the path quicker. Or at least get it to a resolution. Look, if they were just window shopping and you send them an engagement letter and you keep calling them and all that, it's better for that automated process to figure out that it's a soft no than you spend a whole bunch of time as a person. So you can get to the next person. Let the robot take the soft no. Let it take the L, right?
Yeah, let the robot get ghosted instead of
exactly. And it's nice because especially if you're high volume or you have a dedicated sales staff, or you're a very busy small business, I see a Q&A just popped up. Well, I see that up there. We'll get to it. If you're just overwhelmed all the time, that way you can, it's that old 80-20 rule. You can spend most of your time with the 20% of your clients that make 80% of your money, and then let automation work with those 80% that only make 20% of your money, the maybes and the people that drag their feet, and the clients that come and go and that are flaky. We can use automation to A, try to reel them in a little bit better, or B, just kind of meet them where they're at. Maybe they just, maybe it's a no. So we can just meet them at that no. You don't have to waste the time with it as the owner or the manager or the salesperson or the CPA, right? That's the idea, is you can get back to things that matter. All right, how am I doing on time? At 26, we're 26 after.
Yep, still doing good.
Okay, I saw the Q&A. Any, do we want to take, this is a good little stopping point before I get into the back half, the production side of it.
Luckily, I brought on my handy dandy panel. So we're getting, as those questions come
up, perfect.
In meeting. Yeah.
Let me get this out of the way. This Zoom bar slays me. Okay, let's go back to the top. So that's onboarding. Now, onboarding, where we left off at, is that it made a new client. Here it is. You can see it in this nice, beautiful activity feed 5 minutes ago. Made us a client, updated itself. There's all the files that you're seeing here. And then, of course, and it's the automation because it's got the little lightning bolt there. You can hover over it. And then it created a project. So we bundle a lot of our reporting by quote unquote project. Really, it's a folder. So you have the activities, typical activities of bookkeeping, filing returns, dealing with audits, working, quarterly, monthly, weekly financial reviews with your clients. What we want to do is bundle all those activities, either maybe around a particular company or time frame or what have you. Maybe it's, some amended returns. We kind of want to hold that separate from our regular business with this client. You can make these projects. And what these projects are really, it's reporting. So we'll start here. So where we left off the story is that about 6 minutes ago, it created this. Now, I don't know what you want to name your project, right? And neither does a robot. So what we did is just stick this in here and put a quick update the project name. So here's a nice little example of how to utilize Podio tasks, right? So it already assigned me that task. So I'm just going to say, this is client 15's all service. They bought the whole package, right? Whoopee.
And we're calling it a project here, but that can really be named anything, right?
Like you can name it whatever,
like the return title or the audit title or bookkeeping title or anything along those lines, right?
Yeah, this is the folder, and we're going to get into the audits and returns, but we call them projects. We can use whatever vernacular your organization uses for something like this. It's really a folder. I had put folder on there first, but I think project just captured it a little bit better. Now that's it. That's all that goes on up here is the client relationship manager. Could be the CPA, could be anybody. There's obviously the client name. These are clickable, so we can do a little breadcrumb trail, right? We can go back to the client and see their information, come back down here, click on their projects.
Yeah, that's the joys of relationship fields for anyone who's just getting started with Podio. Being able to function as that relationship database, as well as sort of managing your projects in your clients, can be really powerful.
When I started using Podio, the relation fields is the reason I started using Podio in 2012. So this is my 11th year.
One of the OGs.
A long time ago. It was right after I think it was like November 2012 when Sarah was still putting messages on the community support boards. I date myself. There's some OGs in here, I'm sure. Okay, so there's some blanks down here. What is this? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start monitoring how many hours we're billing, right? And we're going to look at how much on bookkeeping, how much on returns, audits, and reviews in this example, and then how much time on all projects or tasks that this client is receiving services from. We're also going to hold that at the individual level, but we're going to aggregate it to a project level. So I'll give an example on how I personally would break up a project and how we've done this with some of our other clients, if they wish, of course, is by year. So, I have a CPA, he does the business and he does my personal taxes, right? And I'm separate of the business, of course. I'm a partner, not 100% owner, so I am set at arm's length there. But he would have a project for me, let's say SureLink, and then also a project for Rickbridge Consulting in there as well. You could have a project around services rendered to this client in 2003. So however you want to folder or bundle these up, you can with these projects. And it's going to start pulling in some KPIs when it comes to hours tracking. Okay. I'm just gonna, so there's 4 modes here, and this is probably the least that I need to explain to this crowd, but I'll touch on these really quickly. These you just add in, and we can put, there's instructions here as we go along that can be expanded. We can also put images and videos and other things, embed that right in the UI for help of users. Really useful for larger organizations that have knowledge turnover. But let's say we just want to do a month-end bookkeeping task for them. I'm just going to come in here as the CPA or the bookkeeper, click my client. I'm going to grab their project that I'm working on. It's me. I'm doing the preparing. I'll have my boss, the badge there, take a look at it afterwards. You know, I'm at the front end. I need to send over my file organizer. These are things that are going to be very specific to your business. We just put some generics in here, kind of what kind of stage is this bookkeeping done for this month. You know, we'll put a progress bar. We'll say this is Feb 23 for the month and year. I'm gonna go and save it. We don't have any notes yet. Save it. Always in Podio, it's a one-time save. And any other changes from here on out, it automatically saves for you. It's gonna calculate a title here in just a moment. Setup task been complete. So, all right, you know, test client Feb 23, we could add whatever you want to this name. From there, it's just pulling from this information. And we go along, you know, as we're doing the work, you can adjust this little progress bar that's going to update other folks throughout the organization about what's going on. But how do we build a client for the time, right? Hey, we don't do this for free. So let me show you what the timesheets look like. Timesheets, we do and have found with a lot of different industries using Podio for this type of queue style work. It tends to be one of the easiest ways to do billing if you're under the hourly system. So let's say I did 2 hours worth of work on that bookkeeping task that I just set up. I'm just going to grab the client's name, grab the project. Once again, we just want to tie all that back to the project. I did it today, of course. I worked that, where am I? There it is, Feb 23 on 15. So that was the one I just set up. And we spent, well, I'll say 2 hours, and I'll put 57 minutes on there so you know which one it was. All right, and we're just gonna save a timesheet. I've now, as an employee, clocked hours to that client. Let's say you bill at the end of the month. Maybe you're billing off that retainer pool that we talked about. But I'll go down the path. Let's say you bill at the end of the month. You just pop right here into Podio, export Excel. Everybody loves Excel. This makes this super easy. Whenever it is finished, and reload. Once that Excel sheet comes to us, I did push the button, right? Once that Excel sheet comes to us, it's actually gonna, oh, there it is. It's just taking its sweet time. Guess what? I gotta back up. Haha. You know, I put the pie in the bottom oven and pulled the pie out of the top oven, right? So you'll get a sheet looks like this. You can manipulate this Excel sheet. We'll just pop this open so everybody can see what's going on. Stop it. You can see it's just all the lines. We just straight exported that from the billing system. I did an example earlier, just in case that would happen. Just make a quick sum. Let's say that, let's just pretend for the sake of example, this is one client. We did 39 hours. 39.95 hours, 95 is 57 minutes. So 95% of an hour. And let's say we charge $135 an hour. Wouldn't it be great if we all could? $135. So they owe us $53.93, right? So it's that easy. So you go and you jump right in your QuickBooks or whatever billing system is. There's your number. There it is. If these are separate clients, I don't think I have to show, again, I don't think I have to show this crowd how to use Excel, but you can use just some quick summing, yes, Excel, subtotaling functions, and then you can break it out by client this way. I'm not going to belabor that. So on that,
I've even seen with some of the, especially with working with partners, some of the more advanced workflows in Podio where it can pull everything within a time frame linked to a client in a separate app and almost generate that as a PDF to send out. Have you seen that before as well?
100% have done that. And we can actually push that out into QuickBooks and create one-off invoices or monthly invoices automatically. I wanted to show the more grassroots way of doing things, because this system is usable immediately, right? Especially for people that can click a few links and understand a little bit of Excel. You don't have to have a whole bunch of training to get through something like this, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's, I think one of the nice things with this platform in general is it can be as simplistic or as comfortable as you're used to, or it can get to where you're literally automating everything except for your grocery list. So it can get really, really intensive, but it's nice to be able to see it on a couple different levels. So if you're not comfortable with a ton of automation, there are still things that you can do sort of at your own pace. If you do want to speed up some of those processes, especially with working with a partner or playing around with that back end, you're able to set a lot of this up.
Absolutely. The other thing is cost, right? Like, look, money doesn't grow on trees. We want to make sure that we're utilizing. If it's okay to juggle a spreadsheet every once in a while because you're a smaller firm and you only have 20, 30 clients or something like that, you don't have to spend the extra couple grand on automation. You're a huge firm that sends out 100 of these an hour. But then, yeah, it's probably a good idea for you to get that automation because you probably have a full-time position already trying to mess with these invoices, right? So Podio meets you not only where you're at from a user level, but also from a budgetary perspective. If you're willing to take a little bit of that last mile, which, if I'm going to save you, 50, 100 minutes on an onboard, then you got to take a couple minutes to click a few things. It's a pretty good trade-off, right? Especially if you don't want to spend the extra money to just automate it all the way.
Yeah, and the nice thing too with this is it can kind of grow with you as your business grows.
Correct.
So if you're starting at stage A, but let's say you're scaling up, this can scale with you.
Yeah, if you want, let's say you just like, Gil, I'm okay with Excel. I just got a few clients, but I'm going to take over the world. So one day I'm going to have a bunch of CPAs and we're going to, be the next Ernst & Young. Then yeah, you can, when you get closer to that goal, we can talk about automating the rest. And it doesn't invalidate or outdate your current version, right? It's just an add-on. It's very modular. You go, okay, I want to spin this now. Let me get comfortable with this system, Gil. Mac, I want to use it for a little while, get some mileage, make sure that I really want to invest in it. I got the funds, but I really, really want to be sure. Well, we can put you on something like this that's a little more manual. And then when you feel comfortable with it, you feel comfortable how the system works, your employees get comfortable with it, then we can pull in some more of our loving robot overlords to take care of some of these menial tasks, right? Nobody has fun invoicing. Well,
really, that's not your favorite part of the day?
Sitting and messing with customer invoices, not usually. Okay, so I don't need to say that. Okay, the timesheet did pull, just took it a couple seconds longer, but you would be able to just grab that Excel file there. Let me get back on my path. That easy, find your way right back via the workspace. That was all my batch jobs, so I've done exports, so you can always, I've loved that about Podio. I've had to go back to those. So it keeps a history of all your exports right there for re-download for a certain length of time. Okay, so that was bookkeeping. Returns, tax returns. I'm not gonna go through the full site on this. Mac, stop me if you think there's anything relevant. But it's the same idea. You just kind of fill out this returns. You can almost think of it like a ticket, so to speak. You just put in the information, put the preparer on there. I'll fill this one out. I won't. The next couple I will not. But we'll just select a few years. Let's say we're doing a 2022 return. I'm the preparer. It's an individual. We're going to do the 1040. Everybody knows this drill, right? It's when does it due? What is it this year? 17th. So not 4th to 17th, right? And then no extension or anything like that for right now. So we got all this information here. If they're a previous client, we can go ahead and attach last year's return here if they've already got it in our system so that it's all nice and daisy chained together. We're gonna go ahead and save this. It's gonna run a little bit of setup for us. I'm gonna refresh it just to give it a good appeal. Again, I'm doing the refreshing because we're moving pretty quickly through it. Yep, see, no extension right now, but then you just update what's going on. As you do the work, you just go right over the timesheets and just file billable hours against this return. What's really cool, and I'll show you back on the other one, is that it's going to track those hours, not just at a total client level, but also at the individual. So back here in bookkeeping, we did those 2. Here it is, that 2.95 hours we talked about earlier. It's going to start adding those up. And that's just on Feb 23 month end, right? So when you create March 23 month end, it's going to start over at 0. But then it's going to add, let's say you do all 12 months for the client. It's going to add all 12 of those months under the project. So you can see exactly the number of hours that you billed the client for the entire year's worth of bookkeeping service.
Yeah, the joys of conditional workflows.
Yeah, so that way you can see exactly what's going on when the client says, I don't know if you did any work. You can pull up all the tickets and all the billable hours and everything else for them. Or, this client is a great client, spends a lot, brings a lot of people to you, and you're just looking at that nice big billable number they bring you every year, and you want to send them a steak dinner or whatever to the client. You can feel comfortable knowing which ones get the steak dinner. Actually, we have a Swag Up, which is a third-party application that can automatically do that for you. You can read the number of hours somebody spent, and they get a gift. If somebody spends more, we can give them a little bit bigger gift, right? And that's all automated. Another interesting one to throw out. I know, Mac, we said as a partner, I get to do all the fun stuff, right? We
use all the fun, yeah.
So Swag Up is one. That's a wonderful one for sales and customer service. They handle everything. You put like a pool of money in there, and they just send swag. You select the swag and all that, but they box and ship and do the whole work. So you don't even have to look at it. Same thing with Thankster. Handwritten thank you cards. I guess they got a room full of people that sit and write thank you cards because they're all handwritten. And it's automatically mailed. It's all customized. You can provide, we also put those inside a system so they get automated thank you cards for when they become a client, all handwritten and mailed directly to them. So some really special stuff for your clients that requires zero effort out of you, except for a little bit of setup with us or another partner, a little bit of setup with like a company like Swag Up. You got to pick up what kind of swag, as a t-shirt or whatever. But once that's all set in place, set it, forget it. That way, and you can feel good about that. So that the person that only spent 1 hour with you, they don't get anything, right? They only spend 1 hour talking to you. For somebody that spends several hundred hours with you, obviously they're getting the t-shirt, right? So, and the handwritten thank you card, maybe something else for spending that with us. We want to make sure that customer comes back next year, right? Because that's a wonderful customer. Okay, take a look at audits. Look, these 4 things here, there is an infinite amount of configuration we can do with these system. So these are very bare bones and just kind of show. I'm going to pull up one that I've already done. Here's an audit. Here was the client. It was client number 11. One of those new 87,000 IRS agents gave him a call, right? And started the audit. Here we can put it into progress. Let's say we kind of talk to him. We get about a quarter of the way through. It's going to be due this September, but you can see it's tracking all these changes here, and it's me. So if you have multiple people working in something like an audit, which does happen, you can see who's doing what, when, where. It's all tracked. You got time stamping, all this kind of stuff that's going on down the side. You can put some detail in here. These are rich text formats. Continue to add files down here. And of course, you can always add tasks to each other. Just that native Podio feature. It's all contextual to this audit.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to point out on these sort of demos is a lot of times people don't have the ability in a current platform to like communicate when they're at a different stage with the client themselves. Podio even has the ability for those templated emails. So as you're going from step 1 to step 2, it can automatically notify that client via email. So everyone just feels like they're a part of the process.
Yep, and those were some of the ones. Hopefully nothing crazy's popped up on my... Oh, yeah, so that's like this here, here's a thank you from the onboarding team. Here's what we're telling you. Here's some instructions. As the audit gets done, hey, we hit 25%. Hey, we've had the second meeting with the IRS, blah, blah, blah. Like all those kinds of things could be handed to the client. And that can be specific to the audit so that it's maybe really high touch with audits. Makes sense. Could be really low touch down on the returns or bookkeeping side. Right? Hey, we'll have our meetings. We have our reviews, which is the last thing that I'm going to touch on here, financial reviews. We'll cover those under there, but the audits, you might want to like every time something's happened, the client probably wants to know, right? They're probably a little nervous about all that. So, we have that. We can amplify or de-amplify as much communication coming off of Podio as you want. And I'll restate it again. It could be email, it could be text message, ringless voicemail. We've done call center work if you're that big. There's all kinds of ways that we can communicate with customers, both from a sales perspective, but also from a customer service perspective.
So let's say someone's in here and they want this setup or they want to work with you. How are they able to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Always reach out. If you're a current Podio user, you can just find me, Gil Roberts. You can do it right here through the Podio chat. If you are not, you can reach me, Gil, G-I-L, 1L, at brickbridgeconsulting.com. You can also reach us back at service@brickbridgeconsulting.com. What you've seen today is ready and available for purchase. Because we built it for a demo, we're going to offer a discount on this. So just reach out. If this system seems it's what you need, we can get this copied over to you. Probably about a 2-week installation, and you're off and running with something to this. Obviously, we'll customize it to get it. It's off the rack suit, and we have a tailor for you here in the shop.
Wonderful. And it's similar, as Gil has pointed out, in that Podio chat, you can also reach me. My name, again, Mac Flintosh. If it's something where you're not a paid Podio customer or you're at the level where you're not sure if this is available, absolutely reach out to me. We can make sure that you get you set up correctly.
Absolutely.
Gil, thank you so much for your time today. This has been absolutely wonderful. It's really nice to be able to highlight everything that Podio can do beyond just the platform itself. Really, really like what you've done here. And I just want to, again, thank you for taking the time to walk through that with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much. I'm here for questions.
Wonderful. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. We will have a follow-up that'll go out, which can include the link to this recording. Stay tuned. We have several more webinars specifically around Podio coming out for the rest of the year, a lot of which we're also going to be highlighting different Podio partners to kind of just show everything that would be possible here. So if that is something you're interested in, make sure you're getting those registrations, and we'll see you next time.